How do you feel as a Giants fan?
Oh,
Before we get to our objective, dispassionate analysis,
right.
As a Giants fan, how do you feel?
Well, I was realistic about the Giants a little bit this year. I think you know that. I mean, I did not pick them to go to the playoffs, right? I thought, hey, last year they found a formula. They gelled together as a team. It was a new coaching staff. I think it catches the division by surprise a little bit. They don't know how to, game plan against them, all of that. There was those were some advantages last year for the New York Giants, right? Plus, they had a favorable schedule. So my expectations weren't high. I mean, I was like, well, maybe we can get in the playoffs and do that type of thing. Maybe we could sneak in, but I don't think it'd be any better than last year. We either lose in the first round or maybe we sneak by with another game. So expectations were never high. And then when we saw the schedule, I went, well, yeah, they're definitely not high, and I'm definitely not picking them to go to the playoffs. So I never built myself up with this football team. There's still a lot of issues, right? And, of course, you and I both picked the Seahawks to win this game on this night because, yeah, the Giants had a tough early season schedule, surely. But, they got their ass royally kicked by the Dallas Cowboys. And they got their ass royally kicked by the San Francisco 49ers to where, and then, of course, the Cardinals better than we thought. But that was almost a miracle in that fact that they came back in that one. So I didn't go into this game high expectations. But as a Giant fan, Mike, I sit there and go, last night was a effing disaster. It was a disaster all the way through. The play on the field, the chippiness, the sloppiness, the penalties, all of it. And then to be in an NFL football game and, what was the total sack number? Was it 11? Where did we get to?
11.
9? 10?
11.
11. Here's the funny thing about it, and Troy Aikman referenced it. It should have been 18, 19. I mean, if he's not a miracle worker, how many sacks did he get out of and run away from? I mean, that felt like I was watching a New Jersey State football game, or it was the number one team in the state, some big Catholic powerhouse that has 7 Division I players, and they were playing some rinky-dink public school team that had no business on the field. You don't see a quarterback in the NFL go through that. That was craziness. That really was. And I felt for Daniel Jones as the game went on. It was 21-3, and I was going, they should pull him out. It's human abuse. And, that was unacceptable with the way they looked up front in that game last night. It really was.
11 total sacks. It tied the Seahawks franchise record for sacks in a single game. Apparently it was one shy of the all-time single-game record. And I'm with you and Troy Aikman. I'm surprised they didn't have more than that. It
How many
felt
did
like
he
almost every play
get through
would have been
yeah,
a sack.
Right.
Yeah. But that was the one play the Seahawks couldn't stop. That was the one play they didn't have an answer for.
Right.
Daniel Jones running.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Right? That was all they could do last night.
Yep.
Daniel Jones running.
Yeah.
There were no passes down the field. They didn't have time to even look for anybody. The running game wasn't there for anyone not named Daniel Jones. And it's funny. I went and looked at the scores we had picked, and I assume we both picked the Seahawks to cover, and I checked. The Giants were 1-point favorites at the time that we made our picks. What the hell? What were people thinking? What had they not watched the Giants play this year? Had they not seen the Cowboys game or the 49ers game? And I know the Cowboys game, and we say this about the Cowboys, if you let the storm blow early, it's going to blow your house down, and it's just over. But they got overpowered and outclassed by the 49ers. They had to screw around with the Cardinals, and they should have lost that one. This team's 1-3. It feels like it's 0-4. They've lost at home by the combined score of 64-3. 64-3 at home in 2 games. And they've played 3 times in prime time. And they've been outclassed in every one of them. My son and I were texting last night. He's livid that the Giants have all these primetime games.
Yeah.
He's like, why do they have so many primetime games? I said, well,
right.
Here's what the NFL does.
Right.
They look at the teams that were good, who they think will be good, and if you're from New York, you have the built-in massive audience. So, and now, maybe the idea was they may not be very good this year, so let's get
them
primetime
early.
game out of the way early,
right,
before they're ass, before everybody knows they're ass. We think they're probably going to be ass. Let's get their games on primetime out of the way early, but there's still Bills game, Sunday Night Football, coming up in 12 days. So we get at least one more Giants game in primetime, and they play the Dolphins between now and then. So 1-3 is going to become 1-5, and at what point is the window closed? They were saying last night on SportsCenter after the game, not that, and that's the one time a week that I actually listen to anything else, because after the game, I keep it on because you get snippets of interviews and press conferences that alert you to things. Like Geno Smith had some really strong comments about the tackle along the sideline that injured his knee. We'll talk about that coming up. But I think it was Ryan Clark that said the season's over. Or maybe it was somebody else. I can't remember. Somebody said the season's over. You can't say the season's over for the Giants. It's just 1-3. But if you're looking for reasons to be hopeful, like with the Vikings at 0-3, they were in every game. They can move the ball.
Right.
They can make us stop
from
time to time.
Your offense
There's
can.
Nothing about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's nothing about the Giants that you look at and you could feel hopeful about.
No.
Where's the hope? Now, Saquon Barkley comes back, maybe. But as long as the offensive line is playing like that, and I know they still don't have Andrew Thomas at left tackle, which has a huge impact on it, but that's just one guy. I mean, if Andrew Thomas would have been there, how much difference would it have made? They would have found some other weakness. One guy isn't going to fend off that barrage of Seahawks defenders.
No, that's right. It's not. They're a little banged up at another in the inside, interior part of their O-line too. So that hurts it a little, but you're right. One guy's not going to change all of this. I mean, this was ridiculousness. There was, and whoever said it, Ryan Clark, Scott Van Pelt, I agree. I mean, the future is dark here. It's bleak. I'm not going to say it's over either, but there is nothing that you look at to go, oh, wow, we're close. They're going to turn the corner here. And then, you've heard me talk on the podcast and we pick games and everything there. Okay, it's Daniel Jones running. And then because they can't protect and they don't have any bona fide game breaker yet. Hyatt is that guy, but he's young and I guess they still don't trust him. But it doesn't even matter because they don't have enough time to ever let anybody work down the field. Teams play, let's stop the run and let's stop the 6 and 8 yard pass over the middle. Troy Aikman showed a few clips of that last night. They're all down there by the line of scrimmage. What's there to be scared of, right? And then he's not going to have time to throw the ball anyways. So that's where, you look at it. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they hang in there. Last night, I mean, with the fact is how much they were on the field and did that, the fact that we were at 14-3, and they were on the doorstep of scoring was kind of miraculous in itself. It really was. Like, damn, they're getting their ass kicked. And we got a chance to make it 14-10 here. A lot of that was because of the defense hanging in there against Geno Smith and Drew Lock and, slowing down the running game a little bit. But no, I still don't look at that unit to go, oh, well, they're good enough to carry the load for the offense there. So, yeah, Mike, there's not a lot of encouraging signs there. And I don't see, it this year. I don't think it's going to happen. I still think there's a talent gap between them and the top teams in the NFC, as we've seen. And, there's some schematical coaching issues up front and things that got to be adjusted in a big way if they want to even survive the season or Daniel Jones survive the season.
ESPN Stats and Information has the stat of the week. There are two teams who have not run an offensive play with the lead this season. The New York Giants and the New York Jets. And somehow
insane.
They each have a win.
Yeah.
And they play on October 29. Remember there was a time that we were going to lobby for dispensation to do our work from the stadium on Sunday, October 29th, when it's Jets at Giants? Yeah, forget about that.
Yeah, right.
At least one of the two teams will have a lead that day when they play in 3 weeks and 5 days. Oh, can you imagine how ugly that one's going to be if these two teams continue? But I feel far better about the Jets right now than the Giants.
Yeah, I do
For
too.
as bad as everything has been with the Jets, they turned a corner on Sunday night. The Giants on Monday night turned into a corner, and there was a shovel there that hit them right in the face.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And the Jets have, more playmakers on offense. And, of course, their defense, as we saw, can make Patrick Mahomes look mortal in a football game. They're still a damn good D, right? So I'm with you there. I would have more confidence in the Jets as well. But, yeah, for now it's going to be the Giants. It's a disaster. You mentioned it before we start the show. There's things on, online, everybody bagging on Daniel Jones. Like, no quarterback in football has had it harder than Daniel Jones over the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, they showed the stat during the game. Nobody's been under pressure more as a quarterback. It's not even close in the last 4 years as a quarterback than Daniel Jones. And the thing that I think annoys me is because I see this online too, right, is, his record in prime time, right? I know there's a little merit to that, but not a ton. Like, calm the F down, everybody, with your bullshit, snarky-ass tweets and crap. Like, what the hell? What did you think he was supposed to win that game in primetime last night, or against the Cowboys, or against the 49ers? I mean, they're so outclassed as a team, we could call Clark effing Kent to come down and be like, you play quarterback and see how it works. It ain't going to work. So, like, it's a disaster. I feel bad for Daniel Jones in that aspect because everybody blames the quarterback, especially a guy like Daniel Jones, and I don't think that's fair in this situation. It's not.
Goes with the territory, though. When you're making $40 million a year, that's what you get.
I know, but you got to, at some point as a fan, have a brain and go, you know what? It's stupid to say that. Like, he has no chance. I'm watching the game, and it's the worst pass protection I've ever watched in the history of any NFL game ever. Like Troy Aikman said, 91 Eagles, he got sacked 11 times. He goes, this feels much worse, right? I remember that game. He patted the ball a few times and waited for Michael Irvin to get open. Daniel Jones and a bunch of them, Mike, like you said, they were on him so fast that he literally was like, whoa, there's a gap here. I can run. Like, they actually are getting by our guys so quickly that they can't even close in on me quick enough. And it was remarkable to see that in an NFL game.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.